Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services, the video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination perspective will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 12th of October. The first important news, that is Open Network for the Digital Commerce Beta Testing. We'll see this from the explain page of the Indian Express. Second, G7 votes support for Ukraine after Russia's Mark strike. Third, UN Secretary General Prime Minister to launch initiative on environment. Fourth, OECD Global Framework in India crypto asset regulations. Second last, IMF cut India's growth forecast to 6.8%. And the last is an editorial, that is blaming technology for the death and society is misguided. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I start this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful for examination purpose, do press a like button. Starting the session with the first news, that is Open Network for Digital Commerce Beta Testing, something important for General Studies Paper 2. That is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So in May this year, the central government has announced for the launch of the Open Network Digital Commerce in 5 cities. This was the pilot phase of the program that was launched by the government. And this pilot project aims to democratize the country fast growing digital e-commerce space, जहाँ पे अभी presently अगर बात करें तो 2 important ऐसी कंपनी Amazon और Walmart जो कि पूरी e-commerce को dominate करती है. Now, to have a level playing field and to democratize the field, the government has come up with the Open Network for Digital Commerce. This is very important topic both for the prelims and mains examination. In mains, directly a length of question can be asked. And in prelims, you can get a factual questions, right? Now about the ONDC, what is it and how does it actually work? We'll see in detail everything. So first, what is ONDC? The Open Network for Digital Commerce is an initiative that aims at promoting the open network for all aspects of exchange of goods and services over the digital or electronic network. As I've told you in the beginning, it aims to democratize. So the main rationale is to provide a level playing field. Now, the network is based on the protocol that will enable the local commerce across the segment, such as mobility, grocery, food orders, delivery, hotel booking, travel, among others, in a single platform. Now, the platform aims to create the new opportunities to curb the digital monopolies and even supporting the micro, small, and medium enterprises and small traders to help them to go on the online platform. See what is happening, like the people are actually reluctant to come to the platform. Things are changing over the time, but government wanted to ensure कि जितने MSME है या small traders जो हैं उनको भी online platform पे लाया जाए. Now, as per the strategy, the ONDC is a non-profit organization and it is neither the aggregator applications nor the hosting platform. All the existing digital commerce applications and the platform can voluntarily choose to adopt as a part of ONDC. It's not a mandatory, it's not an obligation. It is a voluntary something that an individual can choose. So very important statement here that can be relevant for the prelims as well. Now, how does this work? Unlocking the value of customers. So there's the availability of the choice that will be there with the customer. There's no lock-in such as unified experience and the ease of use. Trust is building by the security purposes and selling transparency. So it called for inclusivity, interoperability, discoverability, as well as scalability. Now the formation of ONDC, how does and what is the agencies involved in the formation? So the Open Network for Digital Commerce is an initiative of Department of Promotions of Industries and Internal Trade under the Ministry of Commerce and Industries. Now, plan क्या है ONDC के specifically अगर Delhi की बात करें, according to the reports which was there, the ONDC is expected to expand. This is expanding in a beta testing areas with a strong delivery and logistic footprint in the network participation, as well as the capabilities of this logistic player can be deployed. Further, the segment can be launched initially as expected to be the electronic home decorations and fashions. How does it work, right? And you need to know how this functions, this platform actually work. The ONDC platform lies in the middle of interfaces hosting the buyers and the sellers. And when the buyers search for an item, suppose if you're searching any item in Paytm app, or this is an hypothetical example where the ONDC can go live, the app will connect the ONDC platform and it will connect the seller's side interface that will list down the companies from where you can buy. So the aggregator platform will be acting where all the multiple players, the small players will be the also part of the platform, right? So अगर आपने किसी एक चीज को सर्च की तो उसके आसपास में उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट और भी जो सेलर सेल करे उनके बारे में भी डिटेल्स आपको मिल जाएंगी. The ONDC will be served other backend partners such as logistics service providers, enterprise sources, e-commerce store hosting providers, etc. Now, ONDC की targets की अगर बात करें, ONDC aims to raise e-commerce penetration in the next 2-3 years, that is to 25% of the consumer purchase, and from 8% this can increase up to 25%, right? Over 1.3 billion people. Now it hopes to sign up 900 million buyers for 1.2 million sellers on the shared network for the next 5 years for achieving the gross merchandise value of 48 billion, right? So this value might be relevant for examination, even you can take a note of that. The government estimates that India's commerce market worth more than 55 billion in the gross merchandise value, and that is expected to grow by 350 billion by the end of this decade, right, by 2030. Now, currently, Amazon and Walmart is having a market share of more than 60%. An important factual point that can be relevant for your mains examination. Now, G7 was support for Ukraine after Russia's mass strike that we have seen recently. Something important for General Studies Paper 2. Effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries. So the leaders of Group of 7 nations has condemned Russia's latest missile attack on Ukraine cities. G grouping की बात करें, they have told that they hold accountable to the Russian president who is taking the decision, and any use of chemical, biological, or nuclear weapon must be met with severe consequences. This is what the grouping of G7 has cautioned for Russia. The Ukraine president appealed the leaders of the Group of 7 to provide more air defense capabilities, and the G7 voted to support Ukraine, right? Even talking about United States, they have already sanctioned their support. They have already provided their support to Ukraine, and even they have sanctioned Russia for many of the trades. Now, G7 grouping की अगर बात करें, it's an intergovernmental organization that was specifically formed in 1975. The bloc meets annually to discuss the common interests of the global economic governance, international security, and energy policies. G7 countries की अगर बात करें, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan, and even United States. These are the 7 countries that are a part of G7 grouping, and India is a part of, India include the part of G20. Now, talking about the details of the G7, G8, and G20 countries. For G7, you can have a list of countries here. G8 plus G7 plus Russia is G8, and talking about G20, India is a part of G20 members. So this is again important for your examination purposes. Now moving ahead with the NATO and other countries stand. NATO के साथ साथ और दूसरे countries ने किस तरह से यूक्रेन की support की बात की है. NATO has said they are closely monitoring the Russia's nuclear forces following a string of Russia's battlefield defeat in the Ukraine, that the allies were boosting the security around the key infrastructure in the recent attack in the Baltic Sea gas pipeline. Now, Ukraine recently received the first 4 of its IRIS-T air defense system, which Germany has promised to supply. But United States की अगर बात करें, they're providing a sophisticated NASMAS, MAS. These are the air defense system that is being provided to Ukraine by United States. And US has provided more than 26.8 billion worth of security aid to Ukraine during this war. So these are the assistance that is provided by Germany and United States to Ukraine. Now, UN Secretary General, Prime Minister to launch initiative on environment, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is conservation, environmental pollutions, degradation, and EIA. So the United Nations General Secretary will travel to India next week to attend the launch of special environmental program along with the Prime Minister at the Statue of Unity in Kevadia in Gujarat, right? So this name of the venue become important for the examination purposes. The program, which is a part of the Lifestyle for the Environment initiative, which was recently launched by the Prime Minister, and this is organized by the Niti Aayog. So, which particular organization is organizing this? This is also important for the examination purposes. Now, in addition, the United Nations Secretary General will deliver a public address to the student at Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, where this focus is expected to provide the global environment crisis. Now, lifestyle for environment initiative की अगर बात करें, this was introduced during 26th United Nations Climate Conference of Parties in Glasgow 2021, and the idea promote for environmental conscious lifestyle that focus on mindful deliberation, utilization instead of mindless and wasteful consumptions. It seeks to leverage the strength of social network to influence social norms surrounding climate. The mission's plans to create nurture a global network of individual, namely pro-planet people. And P3 will have a shared commitment to adopt a promise environmentally friendly lifestyles. Now, HOM की conference होनी है. This is annual head of missions. Prior to the live event, the Indian ambassador and high commissions are expected to congregate in Kevadia for the annual head of missions for the conference. An HOM conference is expected to include several special programs to celebrate and commemorate India's 75-year of independence, that is Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And the event in Gujarat is seen as a special attempt by the government to highlight the state in the run-up assembly. अभी दिसंबर में गुजरात में इलेक्शन ड्यू है, तो बहुत ऐसे experts का कहना है कि this is a political stunt also that government is doing to ensure that they're doing the welfare programs. Now, OECD Global Framework and India's Crypto Asset Regulation, something important for General Studies Paper 2. That is important international institution, agencies, their structure and mandate. Recently, the Organization for Environment Cooperations and Development have submitted the Crypto Asset Reporting Framework. This is known as CARF, very important for your examination purposes. And this was there in the G20 to increase the global transparency in the reporting of tax informations on transactions in the crypto assets in a standardized manner. Crypto में जो भी transactions होंगी उसको legitimize की गई है and crypto asset reporting framework बनाई गई है. The mechanism by the OECD will facilitate the automatic exchange of information among the jurisdictions of the annual basis. तो annual basis पे सारी data को share करनी होगी. So यहाँ पे important आपसे ये पूछा जा सकता है examination purpose से that crypto asset reporting framework was recently there by, that the correct answer is OECD. Now, among other G20 include the United States, United Kingdom, India, China, South Korea, and Brazil. Now, emergence of crypto assets की अगर बात करें, as one of the major development of OECD has sought to address the emergence of crypto assets, which can be transferred and held without interacting with the traditional financial intermediaries and without any central administration. So the role of the central bank will be nullified here, having the full visibility on neither the transactions carried out or the locations of the crypto asset holding. The framework defines the crypto asset, even the blockchain technology that can be issued, recorded and transferred and stored in a decentralized manner without the need to rely on the traditional financial intermediaries or the central administrators. India's regulations on the cryptocurrency. In the union budget, the government has brought in a tax for the currencies. It did not proceed ahead with framing any further regulator for, despite the Reserve Bank of India having an earlier proposed ban on the subsequent set aside of the court order. So RBI ने categorically कहा था that they are not approving any kind of crypto in India, right? Now, but the OECD latest framework, after the approval, definitely India will have to finalize a memo, or you can see the roadmap where the crypto asset will be now a global framework. The government plans to move ahead with discussions on framing an overreaching regulatory and taxation framework. Experts said that the new reporting framework on crypto asset will create a level playing field. The other news, IMF cut India's growth forecast to 6.8% this year, something important for General Studies Paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So recently, the International Monetary Fund had cut its forecast for India growth in 2022. That is, the current data that is there by the IMF is 6.8%. IMF जैसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने भी फोरकास्ट कम की, इससे पहले वर्ल्ड बैंक की भी रिपोर्ट्स आई थी जिसने इंडिया की ग्रोथ फोरकास्ट को कम किया था. Right? The IMF in July has projected the growth domestic product 7.4% for a year, and it has earlier predicted 8.2%. But because of the recovery that is not in line with the parameters, अभी फिर से forecast को कम की गई. Now India has grown 8.7% in 2021 and 2022 fiscal year. Now there's a warning that IMF says that the forecast is due because in April 2023 it could be worsened than for many reasons of the economies. Global monetary tightening needs to stay the course. More than a third of the global economy may contribute and even contract. Global inflations have seen 8.8% in 2022. Latest World Economic Outlook की अगर बात करें, you can see for the emerging market and developed economy, the projection is only 3.7% for 2023, and for this year, the same 3.7. Now, if you look into the India's part, for India, this is well like, अगर इंडिया की बात करें, 6.8% रखी गई है current. So there are lists for many other countries. You can check it out. Now, IMF growth forecast for other countries, these are for across the world. 2.9% is the old forecast and 2.7 is the new forecast, right? So this is the new forecast. This is for the United States, which is again on the lower side, and this is from all other countries. The World Economic Outlook report की अगर बात करें, which is there by the International Monetary Fund, its annual World Economic Outlook, it says that 0.6% cut reflected a weaker than expected outturn in the second quarter's most subdued external demand. IMF also cut Asia's economic growth forecast and now expect that the emerging Asian economy will grow to 4.4% in this year, that is 4.9%, down to 2.2% and 0.1% respectively. More than a third of the global economy will contract in 2023, while the three large economies, that is United States, Europe and China, will again continue to stall. This is the forecast that was there in the Global Economic Outlook report, which is released by the International Monetary Fund. Now, reasons बताई गई हैं, क्या ऐसे reasons हैं जिनकी वजह से deteriorations हो रही हैं, जो global order है वो follow up नहीं हो पा रही, even for the countries that are not performing well. So as per the World Economic Outlook report, widening debt crisis is again the reason, and even it would have a heavily on the global growth that could precipitate for the global recession. Further, US की जो dollar strength है, that is only compounding the likelihood of the debt crisis. The global continued to face the step challenges saved by lingering, that is three power forces. First is the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, cost of living crisis by persistent and broadening inflation pressures, and slowdown in China. So these are the major factors that is contributing for the overall economical performance globally. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, blaming technology for the death by the society is misguided, something important for General Studies paper 2. That's the welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population by the center and the state government. So what I'm going to discuss under this editorial, first we'll look into the theme of this article or editorial. The theme is about the suicide and the technology. And I'll be looking into some of the important aspects of this editorial via some important subheads, that is the blaming technology, case of Tamil Nadu, suicide in Tamil Nadu, reasons for suicide in India, use of technology, and the way ahead. So every year, when the National Crime Record Bureau data or statistics is released about the death that is made by suicide, is demand to address that has grown louder. The most recent data for 2021 released on August 2022 has said that almost 1,64,033 lives were lost due to suicide. And 2 decades in 2021 century, the death has by the suicide remained as a major cause of social distress and a public policy concern in India. Now, technology को कितनी हद तक blame करने की ज़रूरत है, how the technology has contributed, we'll see that. One of the causes for the suicide has been prevalent in the contemporary discussion, and it is expanding as a role of digital technologies. Now, some people that is in the depressions have called there is a mental issues that is leading to suicide, and that is repeatedly contribution and attributed of the technology. Now, factors like cyberbullying, low self-esteem due to social media, right? Extreme binge watching of the online content. Binge is like a continuous watching, right? Heavily reliance on the virtual followers and continuations, validations is contributing to this effects. For example, no one can deny the link between the cyberbullying and suicidal thoughts and attempts. So this is evident. This is kind of a psychological imbalances that we're seeing. Now, according to the study that was there by the Institute of Health in the US, the participants were experiencing cyberbullying were more than 4 times as likely to be reported found of the suicide attempts who did not watch it. So there's a differences. So all the online content that you are consuming, make sure that is giving you a positive feedback, not the negative feedback. Now, the case of Tamil Nadu, news report regarding the spate of the suicide, specifically for the Tamil Nadu is a concern. Primary reports ke mutabik, several suicide incidents were blaming, and particularly the online rummy games. Now, close examination, multiple independent suicide, and even for the Rotary Rainbow project, it found that a high degree of aggregation in the report associated by suicide is again a cause of concern. Even for the online rummy game, that were the main factor behind the death have reported in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu government has passed an ordinance that called for banning of all the online games that is called for money, including the rummy and pokers. Now you can have games for entertainment purposes, but it cannot be on a gambling mode or for the money. Suicide in Tamil Nadu की अगर बात करें, Tamil Nadu has consistently among the highest share of reported that by the country, reported 11% of the total number. In the decade, nearly 19,000 cases were reported standalone. Reason for the suicide in India, according to the NCRB, family problems, illness, substance abuse, marriage, love-related issues also contribute to the 2/3 of the death in India. There are many stressful social life that people are coming across. तो उसमें ये सारे प्रॉब्लम्स हैं जिन वजह से भी डेथ रिपोर्ट की गई. Now, use of technology की अगर बात करें, the central government in proactive efforts has come up with the potential use of technology to improve the mental health of the citizen. So to ensure this, the government has come up with National Telemedicine Health Program to provide access to free round-the-clock medical health intervention in the remote and underserved areas. Now, what is the way forward and the conclusion in this part? So with the way ahead, an inclusive community-based mental health and suicide prevention approach may be more effective in saving the life of an individual and not inclining them towards a suicidal attempts. Now, further, the state may have considered to have technology measures that has a several provide can become a part of this policy response. So the government will also need to formulate a policy where they're actually penalizing such efforts and promoting not to do so. Awareness campaign is again a major thing that government can do. Sensitizing the programs, community support, counseling services usually consider good solutions against the bullying or cyber or otherwise. So these are some of the way forward that can be put forward both by the center as well as by the state government to ensure that there is less number of suicide cases that is reported. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice. Dikshonia was found in which particular location? Bhimbetka Rock Center, Ellora Cave, Ajanta Cave, or Elephanta Cave. You have to check for the correct options. Now the second question is MK1 Arjuna tank. This is indigenously developed by CVRDE and DRDO. The project main Arjuna main battle tank started by DRDO in 1972. So you have to check for the correct option, which among the following is correct. So do check it out. And this type of question is going to be relevant for the upcoming prelims examination. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.